Welcome guys to John's Football Channel. This is your post review to Crystal Palace 1, Rayo Vallecano 0. Very well done to Crystal Palace for this game. They actually managed to get the result and actually get the win. But before we get into this post review, let's just take a look at some news that's been happening lately in the last couple of days. Recently we have seen that Anthony Gordon is going to Barcelona. I think he went in for his medical yesterday. So it is very interesting to see now what happens with Marcus Rashford. Does he stay in the team? What exactly is going to happen with him? Does he want to leave? Is he happy there? Most of us would think so. I mean, if he's able to get the goals and assists, that probably can put him in a decent level. But as well as not be under too much pressure and able to get the salary that he wants. I suppose what kind of player wouldn't want that from himself and for him to be there for his career. So now that's one thing as to what's going to happen there. I don't know if it's a very good signing from Barcelona's perspective. It's not like they need the best of the best in order to compete in terms of La Liga. But we know if they're going to go anywhere in the Champions League, they're going to need creme de la creme players. They need to have very, very good players. And I don't think necessarily Anthony Gordon does that for them. I think he's a decent player, but apart from that, not much you can really say. But who knows? Maybe Anthony Gordon might be able to have a different take going there into La Liga. Maybe his form a bit more gets better, and he's able to gel with some top players as well. And we'll soon see what actually happens there for him. And then we also know there's some links going on with Klopp as becoming the Real Madrid manager now, where because of Jose Mourinho not very, very confident in terms of taking that job for Real Madrid. So now it is a question, is that a possibility for Klopp to actually become the manager of Real Madrid? I think it will be another very good, obviously, a signing as well, irrespective of which one they pick. Klopp and Jose Mourinho are both top managers, and I think they'll be able to both do a job there at Real Madrid. If I had to pick one, I would definitely do Jose Mourinho. I think wherever he goes, he's able to make a scene. Basically, he's able, not necessarily in a bad way, but I think he's able to bring life, I suppose, into the thing. I think most people would actually be wanting to actually watch and see what unfolds there at Real Madrid more than Klopp will. But we'll soon see what happened. Let me know down below who would you actually want to see in the dugouts for Real Madrid. So let's get into this. Let's get into this post review of Crystal Palace 1, Vallecano 0. So you're starting off with the lineups. Obviously, if you start with Rayo Vallecano, they obviously went with a 4-2-3-1. The likes of Biliala as the goalkeeper, Riff and Leliman and Chris as a defense, with Cavina as a left back. Then in the CDMs, they went with Lopez and Valentin as the CDMs. Ahead of them went with Garcia, Teres, and then De La Terre as the midfield ahead of them, and then went Emil as a striker. And then if we take a look at Crystal Palace's, they went with Henderson in goal, Cavot and Lacroix and Riz as the defense. They went with the back three, and then went with Mins, Wharton, Kamada, Michael as Mitchell as the midfield. Ahead of them we went with Saw and Pinto, and then they went with Mateta as a striker up front. So basically, in this game, not much really happened in the first half, apart from some yellow cards. I think both teams were, but more maybe you could say nervous in terms of making a jump in terms of attacking, knowing that they're leaving their back line open. Obviously, I suppose the first goal is the most important one, especially in these competitions, especially in the finals. We know obviously one goal can change everything. It depends. So I think maybe hence why both teams were really closed down. Not much really you could say really happened in the first half. And then if you look at the second half, Wharton decides to take a shot at goal, and the goalkeeper parries it. to his left hand side, and it just happens that Mateta ends up being there in the right spot and ends up slotting it into the net and making 1-0 for Crystal Palace. There was also after that chance, there was a couple of good other chances as well. And I think also before that as well, there was the time where I think it was another chance where I think it was Horton that ends up hitting the crossbar, and it ends up hitting both woodworks, and it ends up surprisingly not going in. There was a few players there for Crystal Palace who could have put the ball in, but failed to do so. And then there was another good opportunity, I think, from Lopez as well in the game, where he lands up for Rayo Vallecano, lands up taking a shot. It just goes past the post. That could have easily crept in as well. And then there was, I think, one more opportunity that I remember from Crystal Palace, where it was very good opportunity, but they just also managed to fail to get the goal and actually make it 2-0 on the day and settle. So very good from them. I think obviously Crystal Palace definitely wanted the second goal in order for it to be less nervous on the pitch, and actually guarantee that they were going through and winning the final. Obviously, leaving 1-0 is very edgy, especially into the last minutes of the game. Anything can happen. I mean, then you can go to extra time and then penalties and whatever. I think obviously Crystal Palace would have wanted to settle it on the night and make sure that there's no room for that to happen. And it was just unfortunate they weren't able to do so. But regardless, they were able to get the win, and now they are in the Europa League. Obviously, Dean Henson is the man of the match. I think obviously with the clean sheet. So yeah, I think that hence why once Crystal Palace got the clean sheet, made Dean Henderson man of the match. And then we take a look at some stats. Obviously, you could see in the first half there was not much done, but if you put a look at even the second half, most likely there was more. You can clearly see there was more chances and everything. I think hence why because of the goal. Obviously, Vallecano had to press. They knew they had to come out of their shell and be more attacking. So you saw a bit more better performance from them in the second half than you did in the first half. If you take a look at the shots overall, Crystal Palace had 3, and then Vallecano had 1. And then touches in opposition box, Crystal Palace had 21, and then you had Rayo Vallecano had 11. Big chances created, Crystal Palace had 4, whereas Rayo Vallecano had only 1. Big chances missed, Crystal Palace had 3, and then Rayo Vallecano had only 1. And then you take a look at offsides, 1-1, very even. Corners also, not much corners happened in this game, only 4 to Rayo Vallecano's 1. So yeah, guys, nice to see that Crystal Palace, another English team, was able to get the win and able to actually go into Europa League next season. I think they're going to be a very good side to watch. It's just a question now: can they get enough players, and can they get enough good players in their team to ensure that they actually go quite far in the Europa League? Do you think they can actually win it now that they are there? For me personally, I don't think so. I think not at this point. I think they can probably get to quarterfinals, semis, I think at best. But I don't think they can actually win it. It just depends what we'll have to see what they do in the window now coming up, and see who they're able to get in with some of the money that they were able to get in this competition, and what other money they were able to have left somewhere and put towards getting top players and helping them evaluate their team, because they know they also need to get a decent squad, and increase their squad depth, because we know that they finished 15th. It's very close to relegation, and obviously Crystal Palace don't want to be nowhere near that conversation. And I suppose there's also a question of, is it done? Is it confirmed who they're getting as their new manager? Seeing that obviously Glasner's last game was this one. What's going to happen with the team? That is another question. But yeah, guys, we can only look forward. We can only see what happens in the coming weeks, and we'll take it from there. So you guys, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know down below what you guys thought of this game. what you guys think of now going on. We know that Arsenal, if only Arsenal now to actually get the last win, in order for us to get that record of all English teams winning European trophies this season. So let's see if Arsenal can do so. Yeah, we'll make a preview to that game on Saturday. So you guys, peace.